This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets.
Oil prices fell on Thursday, hovering around two-month lows as the level of a proposed G7 cap on the price of Russian oil raised doubts about how much it would limit supply. A bigger-than-expected build in U.S. gasoline inventories and widening COVID-19 controls in China also added downward pressure on crude prices. Brent crude futures were down 77 cents, or 0.9%, to $84.64 a barrel at 14:45 GMT, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate, WTI, crude futures fell 36 cents, or 0.5%, to $77.58.
Russia does not plan to supply oil and gas to countries supporting a price cap on Russian oil, the Kremlin said on Thursday, but will make a final decision once it analyzes all the figures. The G7 is looking at a cap on Russian seaborne oil at $65 to $70 a barrel, though European Union governments have not yet agreed on a price and talks are set to continue. As of now, we stand by President Vladimir Putin's position that we will not supply oil and gas to the countries which would set the cap and join the cap, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told his daily call with reporters.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
European Union energy ministers agreed on the contents of two regulations with emergency measures at a meeting on Thursday, Germany's economy ministry said. The first is a regulation for affordable gas supply in Europe, which also provides for a fair distribution of costs in gas crises. The second is for the faster expansion of renewable energies, the ministry said in a statement.
Power was gradually being restored to Ukrainian cities including the capital Kyiv on Thursday, a day after Russian missile strikes caused Kyiv's biggest outages in 9 months of war. Regional authorities said 25% of homes in Kyiv were still without electricity, but the water supply had been restored in some areas and would start working in other areas later on Thursday. In a big improvement from Wednesday, when authorities said power was lost across the entire Kyiv region, public transport was operating in the capital, with buses replacing trams to save power. Next, we have the top news in metal markets. Unionized truckers in South Korea kicked off their second major strike in less than 6 months on Thursday, threatening to disrupt manufacturing and fuel supplies for industries from autos to petrochemicals in the world's 10th largest economy. With fuel costs soaring, the truckers are calling on the government to make permanent a minimum pay system known as the safe freight rate, that is due to expire by the end of the year, and to expand benefits for truckers in other industries, including oil tankers. The government has said it will extend the scheme for 3 years but rejected other union demands. In June, an 8-day, non-violent strike by truckers delayed cargo shipments across Asia's fourth-largest economy, costing more than $1.2 billion in lost output and unmet deliveries before it ended with each side claiming it won concessions.
The Chinese copper scrap market is expected to remain tight as the pandemic and global economic downturn worsen an already limited supply caused by global trade restrictions, a JCC renewable resource executive said on Thursday. Due to increased uncertainty of the global economy in the aftermath of COVID, the market for raw material is in tight supply, said Huang Yifu, vice general manager of Chinese scrap company JCC Renewable Resource. This year, most processing and smelting factories have reduced production due to a shortage of raw materials, Huang said, adding that the number of Chinese scrap traders has also fallen sharply.
We will now look at the top news in the agricultural.
Indian traders are struggling to export cotton despite higher production as farmers are delaying sale of their harvest hoping for higher prices in coming months, industry officials told Reuters. The limited supplies are keeping local prices significantly above the global benchmark, making overseas sales unviable from the world's biggest producer of the fiber. Harvesting of the new crop started last month, but many farmers are not willing to sell. They are holding crop hoping prices would rise like the last season, said Atul Ganatra, president of the Cotton Association of India, CAI. That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.